I'm with Lizzy Noach from the Lone Soldier Centre here in Jerusalem. Now, Lizzy, what is the Lone Soldier Centre?
Okay, so the Lone Soldier Centre is in memory of Michael Levine. Michael Levine was a lone soldier from Philadelphia who volunteered. He left his home. He came to Israel without family. His family obviously stayed back in Philadelphia, and he wanted to serve in the Israeli army. During the Second Lebanon War, he was home visiting his parents or on his vacation when soldiers go home. And the war escalated, and he decided that he couldn't sit back at home and watch what was going on without being with his troops. So he came back to Israel. He absolutely persuaded his commander to let him go into Lebanon, and unfortunately he was killed. Now, Michael, while he was still alive, he spent his whole life talking to people about how difficult it is to be a lone soldier. When you're an Israeli soldier, when you come home at the weekends, you go home to your parents. They do your laundry, they take care of food, they love you, they support you, they talk to you. And when you're a lone soldier, you don't have that. And he used to talk about what the difficulties are of coming home Thursday, Friday afternoon, and all the shops are closed, and I haven't been home for 3 weeks, and there's no food. And he said, when I get out, I'm going to make a center for lone soldiers of places people are going to support these lone soldiers, make sure they have food and laundry. So unfortunately, when he died, his family and his friends and the people that knew him decided the best way to remember him and keep his memory alive would be to create a center that really supports and takes care of lone soldiers.
So when was the centre started?
Well, the war was the end. It was 2006. So it kind of started unofficially for a few years, and by 2009, it was already officially like a non-profit organisation.
Are there many soldiers in the army today that are on their own?
There are 7,000 lone soldiers serving in the army. About 50% are Israeli-born, and they just don't have family that support them in Israel, whether they're from a broken home or they could be from an ultra-Orthodox background who don't support them being in the army. And the other 50% are from all over the world.
So you do actually get quite a lot of people from across different countries, America, England, to join the Israeli army?
Yeah, we have people from all over the world, probably from every country in the world. We have a home where we manage the home and the soldiers live in the home. And we've had at one point 13, 14 different nationalities living together.
So I imagine that can be a very lonely time because you've left the comforts of another country and you don't know anybody here.
Right. So, we're really here to support them for helping them to create a network. We have Friday night meals, we have social events, and we're just really here for anything they need to do, because besides not having family, they don't really know anything about the army. They don't know how the army works. And when somebody says to them, you have to go to this unit, and maybe they don't want to, they don't know whether, can I question that? Is there someone who can help me? Israeli kids grow up with it. Their fathers were in the army, their uncles were in the army, their neighbors are in the army. Everybody knows somebody who can help them. But a lone soldier comes here and they're kind of clueless. So we're their support system while they're in the army.
Can it be a lonely time in the army, even though you're surrounded by a lot of other guys and girls?
It can be a lonely time. I think that the Israelis that are serving with lone soldiers have a lot of respect, because they say, we live here. It's our duty. We have to be here. You could be back home in Los Angeles with your big house and with your family. You don't have to be here. So they have a lot of respect. So they invite them to their homes and they show a lot of love to them. But it can be lonely.
Is there a big percentage of soldiers who actually commit suicide?
There is generally in the army. I think that some of the lone soldiers that in recent reports have committed suicide hasn't necessarily had anything to do with them being lone soldiers.
Are your staff that you work here yourself actually have been soldiers themselves, so they know what a soldier's life is about and what they have to go through?
So the majority of the staff here and the founders were lone soldiers, and most of the people that we recruit. I mean, I personally came to Israel. I was too old already to serve in the army, but we do have most lone soldiers that come through the center and get support and help. They want to give back when they finish the army, so they stay as volunteers. So we have hundreds of volunteers who advise and help those lone soldiers. They stay involved even when they're no longer soldiers to help the next generation of lone soldiers.
And what sort of projects do you do here at the center?
So we have a pre-army program, which is for soldiers who are coming here and they need to physically train, learn about the culture, learn Hebrew, just prepare them really for going to the army. And we have a post-army program to help them when they finish the army, what they're going to do next, and hopefully that they'll stay in Israel and carry on their lives here. And we do Friday night dinners, because that's really the time when they come home for the weekend and they haven't had time to go shopping and they don't want to cook or they don't have time. So to really have, not just for the food, but to be able to have a group of 100 lone soldiers together so they can talk to each other and share their experiences, and then they create a network, and then they don't don't feel alone and they have something to look forward to. We also do the same way social events for the same kind of thing for them. We have homes that we manage. So instead of a lone soldier living with one or two other soldiers and then everybody's home at different weekend and they come home to an empty home, they can come home to one of our homes where we have counsellors that live in, and there's anything from 10 to 30 lone soldiers living there, so they never come home to an empty house where there's no food in the fridge. The projects that we do, pre-army, post-army, we also have advisors that advise the lone soldiers. We take care of the kids that come pre-army. They come to do, some lone soldiers come and make aliyah and live in Israel, and some come and just do a program and then go back. If they do that program, then we take them on hikes to learn the country and really prepare them for being in the army.
If they're in the army and they're a lone soldier, do they rent a house out of the army, or do they actually live in the base all the time?
Right, so the American army, really, like soldiers live on bases and they have everything taken care of, their families live with them. Is in the Israeli army, the army take care of soldiers while they're on base. Once you go off base, they assume your family's going to take care of you. And obviously, lone soldiers here don't have families, so we try to provide all those kinds of things that their family would provide for them. So a place for them to come, a place for them to laundry, homes that they can live in, advice. We're actually also just starting a mental health fund to really offer help and services to soldiers who may be having any kinds of issues. Rather than going to a bad place, they can come here and get some help.
Do you have aftercare when they've left the army? Is that important as well?
Yeah, I mean, once you leave the army, they suddenly leave their structure, and they're not sure what they're going to do. Are they going to go to university? Are they going to go back? So we have like a post-army, and we encourage any lone soldier who finishes to stay within the lone soldier family, and obviously to help the next lone soldiers and to train to be advisors with us so they can help. But also we help them to try and find jobs, give them advice on what programs they could go and study, because we want to help them in their next step. Even the kids that go back to their home, to America or to England, they stay as alumni and they help us.
Now, at the moment, we've just seen about 600 rockets coming into Israel from Gaza. Is this a nervous time for a soldier because they think, well, maybe there's going to be a ground invasion, maybe I'm going to be the one that's going to go into Gaza and have to deal with this problem?
I think it's more the parents who are back at home who feel that. I think the soldiers feel that they've been training all this time and this is what they're here for, and now they have the chance to defend Israel. And if that's what, that's why they're here. They're not just coming to the army just to spend time training. They came to Israel to defend the Jewish people. So if there's some kind of ground force or something, then it's not, I wouldn't say they're looking forward. I wouldn't say they're rushing to do it, but it's they feel the responsibility that that's what we're here for.
Over the years, have you gotten to develop what a soldier needs?
Yeah, I mean, we do about 2 or 3 times a year. We ask the soldiers, what's the most difficult thing about being a lone soldier? What do you need? What can we help you with? And funnily enough, the other week, somebody asked a soldier, what do you need? And he said, no, I'm fine. I don't need anything. The centre provides me what I need. And we said, what do you really need? And he said, I'm actually embarrassed to say I've been wearing the same pair of socks all week. I just don't have enough pairs of socks. So we started a campaign and we reached out to some importers and people, and we're going to get stocks here of things so that the soldiers don't have to be embarrassed. They can just come and take from the cupboards. And we really want them to reach out to us more. So we do these evaluations and we say, what could we do better? What do you think's missing? What do you need? And then we can provide more things.
So is there a lot of poverty within some of the soldiers, particularly the ones that have come from abroad?
I wouldn't say poverty, because they get paid from the army a double salary from an Israeli soldier. Lone soldiers get extra benefits for being a lone soldier, so they get a rent subsidy, and they get paid for being in the army. And depending if you're a combat soldier, you get paid more. I wouldn't say poverty. It just really would depend how much support they have from home. We did a survey and we asked people, how many of you receive more than $100 a month support from home? And about 60% said they don't. So, us being able to provide them with socks and toiletries and food. We like to have volunteers come in and cook food in the kitchen. So when they come in, they feel like they're home. There's food here for them to eat, like they would if they went home to their house. Mum's in the kitchen. So we try to do that for them, and to have things where they don't need to be embarrassed to say, my parents aren't really supporting me. So I didn't really have the money to buy the extra things I need. So we want to be able to provide them with those things without being embarrassed about it.
How many soldiers are you actually helping? And are you just based in Jerusalem or all over the country?
So I would say we have maybe 3,000 soldiers of the lone soldiers that come through our doors during the year. We have a center in Tel Aviv. We have a small group of volunteers in Beersheba who have, like, on a Fridays, like an open house where the soldiers can also come and be fed. And we're in contact with soldiers who are living on kibbutzim in the north and all over.
Is the basic thing that they need just love and care?
Yeah, I mean, they basically need the love, care and support, because they often have hardships when they don't really realize what it is to be in the army. So they think maybe they're coming and it will be like summer camp, or what. They don't really know how hard it's going to be, or how lonely, or how their parents don't necessarily understand, or they don't want to worry their parents. So if something's going on and they don't want to worry their parents, then who are they going to talk to? So we want them to feel that we're here for that support, that they can come and talk to us. And then we can help them, even if they've had an injury and they don't want to worry their parent. We have a medical team of volunteer doctors who will go and visit, who will go and sit with a soldier in the hospital and say, what do you need? Do you understand what the doctor's saying? What kind of treatment you need? And we also have a fund. If they need to pay for some kind of private care, then we would help them with that as well.
Is basic training for a new recruit a shock to the system?
I think it can be, which is why we have these pre-army training programs. And some people go for a year before to a training program. But especially we run something called Sevet Mikey, which is like a weekly training program where anyone can sign up and they can do physical training, where we do things through the night, where they have to carry big things on their back. And even if it's raining, we don't cancel it, because that's what happens in the army. We really train them physically as if they're going in the army. And then from that, they can get a sense of what they're really getting themselves into.
Are you making a difference?
I think we are. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be growing. We wouldn't have 100+ lone soldiers coming on Friday nights for dinner. When somebody's injured, they reach out to us and somebody goes to visit them. And I think that we had recently a spa night for the men. We did one for the girls, and the boys said, we want one. We really asked them, what do you need? We had to close registration 2 days before because we had so many people that wanted to come. We had volunteers come in to do massages and facials, and the soldiers really loved it. And they said, when are you doing another one? So I do think that if we weren't making a difference, then, we wouldn't have anyone to take care of. But they come and they keep coming back. And this week we're having a Yom Ha'atzmaut, Independence Day barbecue, which we hope to see as many soldiers that get out of the army with the current situation. We usually get around 1,000 soldiers in Jerusalem and about 600 to 800 in Tel Aviv coming to that barbecue. So they wouldn't come to us if we wouldn't be here if we weren't making a difference.
Do you get soldiers coming back years later just to come and visit?
Yeah, we do. I mean, sometimes we have soldiers coming back years later who they want to adopt a soldier maybe, or they want to work for us because they've gone back to university and now they've come back to Israel. People stay in touch with us. And when we had a lone soldier who we have these wristbands that we give out to people, and he got married and he was wearing it. And I said to him, I can't believe you wore it on your wedding day. And he says, I never take it off. The center was my family to me. And, that's what you guys did for me. You were everything to me when I was here in Israel. And that's my family.
Why do you do what you do?
Personally? Well, I was about 5 years ago in between jobs. I used to work for a research institute and academic college. And I was looking for something different, something that would make me feel good about myself, that I'm helping people. And this place, every day, in some way you're helping someone, whether it's you told somebody the right place to go, or you gave them a pair of socks, or you helped connect them to a doctor that they need to see, or you helped to get them out of the army because they want to go home to see their parents, and the army are being a bit difficult with their bureaucracy. Every day working here, you're doing something good and you're helping someone. And the soldiers are so appreciative that it's just like a really good, feel-good place to work.
So what's your prayer for the future of the organisation?
I'd like to see it grow so that we have one big building where you can have the offices, and then we can have living where they all live close by. So they're close by here for everything we need, and then we can really provide them with everything that they need and not be spread out around different houses around Jerusalem, which we are currently. And that everyone should be safe, and that we won't have to need an army to defend us.
And what's your website for people who'd like to know more?
It's www.lonesoldiercenter.com.
Okay, Lizzy, thank you very much.
Thank you.